hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to the Ask the Pro series this Friday morning. Welcome to the Home Repairs and Solutions show, sponsored by Spring Mountain Air, your home for all your Amana needs. And now here's Mark and Mary.
Good morning.
Well, good morning.
How are you doing today, Mr. Mark?
I'm doing good. I'll tell you what. Who can't be doing good on a beautiful morning like this?
I'm telling you, they said we might even hit a record high today.
That's what I hear.
Isn't that awesome?
You know what I really hear?
What's that?
The roaring of that motorcycle engine out there.
Yes, sir, buddy.
That's what I hear.
I did see some folks out on their motorcycles.
Oh,
you know, and I
seen
saw
them,
a lot
yeah.
of people with their convertibles down in their cars yesterday,
I've done that too, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe spring is coming.
Mm-hmm. You know, I was noticing out in the backyard, I can't say my grass is growing, my weeds are growing. I got all these little purple top weeds out there.
Oh, aren't
and they're
those
just coming
great?
up, oh, yes. They're just coming up like crazy. So I know some stuff's starting to happen, you know, and
Yeah.
before long we'll look out and the trees are all going to be budded out, especially weather like this. We have a few days like this.
I
it'll
can't
really
wait.
start.
I'm so ready.
The only thing that I hate about this time of the year is when all that stuff starts budding out, my sinuses and my allergies just like drive me nuts. But hey, I'll take it though.
That's when you call Spring Mountain Air for a filtration system.
Yeah, but do you make a filtration system that I can wear while I'm outside?
I'll work on that for you.
Okay, you work on that.
Don't know how good it'll look, but I'll come up with something for you, buddy.
Oh, there you go. Okay. I'll count on that. So, but no, you are absolutely right. You know, it's a good time of year to, you know, we talk about changing your furnace filters and all kinds of things you can do. But yeah, if you really suffer from allergies and stuff like that, so a good filtration system in your house would be wonderful. So,
Yes, it would.
yeah, Spring Mountain Air can do it.
And you know, there's a lot of people, allergies seem to be more prevalent than they used to, too. I don't know
Yeah.
what's up with that, but
Oh, I used to never. It hardly ever bothered me.
yeah.
And now my eyes, like right now, my eyes are just burning and watering. And it this time of year, it does it to me all the time.
Yep.
But that's okay.
That's how it is.
That's how it is. That's right. So, you know, we got a special guest in the studio today. But before we get to that
Yes, we
guest,
do.
I got something I need to do.
What do you need to do?
Well, we had a caller last week that wanted to know about repairing their bathtub or
Yes, chips in a sink, I think.
Chips in a sink.
Yeah.
Chips in a
Mhm,
sink.
I think so, yeah.
And I have the name and number. of the
Well,
person that
you
can
are
do
so
that.
good, Mr. Mark.
Well, thank you. It's called Tub Master, and Mike Whitfield, I think, is the gentleman's name that does it.
Okay.
And their number is 417-527-0661. Probably need to talk to them sometime about getting them on the show here. and
We
talk about
probably
doing that.
do, yeah.
You know, in a lot of our rental properties, especially our older properties, we still have the porcelain bathtubs. And, you know,
Yes.
people drop stuff and they get chipped or rusted around the drain or this, that, and the other. And I've seen their work. They've come and redone bathtubs, and I'll guarantee you they look like brand new. I mean, it's amazing what they can do with them to bring them
I
back
probably
to
need
life.
his name and number then because I have a neighbor at the lake that instead of replacing his bathtub, I think his is blue or pink. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
it's a real heavy tub and all
Yeah.
that. And so they were asking me if I knew someone that would come in and like make it white
They can do it.
instead of replacing the tub.
Absolutely, they can do
So I'll
it.
get that. I'll get that information after the
Okay.
show from you, buddy.
Okay, great.
And we had a WD-40 question too.
Yes, we did. You know, we talked about the different uses for WD-40, and so I thought, well, okay, I'll look it up and give a few. Well, there's like 2,000 plus uses for WD-40. That's on the WD-40's website. So if you go to WD-40.com and there's a tab for uses, I mean, we're talking everything from removes rust from dog tags, loosens stuck screws, and you know, I mean, it's just the list goes on. Dissolves glues, you know, and that's
Dissolves
what brought,
glue?
That's what the
Oh,
question, you
yeah,
know,
it
that brought
was.
this up last week was the fact that somebody had the great stuff foam get
Yeah.
stuck to a vinyl window.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then somebody called in after the show and said, "Hey, WD-40." So that's why I decided, well, I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
It says loosens glue. I mean, it's just stickers, cleans wire rims on glasses.
Good grief.
Oh, the list goes on and on and on.
Well, it's only an hour-long show, Mark.
Cleans old coins, shines doll shoes. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So look it up, WD40.com.
And find all the uses.
Absolutely.
And we have a caller already.
We do. Let's go to Brendan in Lebanon. Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, good morning. Last week I called about the dig right people saying they wouldn't mark where the utilities are because there was no meter up on the house. And I was wondering, did you ever look into that at all? And I'll hang up and listen.
Well, I appreciate that call. No, to be honest, I haven't found out anything on that yet. I had to have Dig Right come out to one of our jobs, and I just drove by it this morning to make sure they'd done it, and they had. But I still haven't got an answer on that.
Yeah, I'm confused with that too, so I don't know what happened there.
So we'll keep trying until we find somebody, Brandon, and let you know. Hopefully this week I can get an answer.
Figure it out. Yeah,
that's right. So we got a guest.
We do.
And I'm excited about him being on here. I'll have to say.
Well, good.
Because he sells some neat stuff.
Yes, he does. We have Brad Schrock with us from Kitchenland. So good morning, Brad. Thanks for being on the show today.
Hello.
Now, come on. You're more exciting than that. We know. We hear your commercials.
We do.
Yes, I am. Not according to my wife, but some people think so.
Well, yeah.
You must have been married for a while if you're past the excited part. No, I asked Brad to be on the show today. We have purchased cabinets from him in the past, but one of the things that was really cool for me is that we had a situation in the house that my son owns here in Springfield that I'm habitating kind of during the week a little bit, and we had a door that was damaged beyond repair. It was not a manufacturer's defect; it was damage due to human error. So I went to Brad and I took the door to him and I said, Brad, do you think we can fix this? I already knew the answer. And he said, no. But he said that he could replace it for me. And so he ordered in a replacement door, and we got it in when he's actually quicker than he told me we'd have it. He had to order it. And my son put it up, and the house is about 10 years old. And Brad told me, he said, it might not match real well. Well, it's underneath the sink, and you cannot tell the difference. It matches up really well. It was just perfect in it, so it fixed that situation for us without having to go in and try and redo all the cabinetry.
Right.
So I really appreciate that, Brad. I thank you again for helping me out with that situation. But
well, you're welcome. I was glad to be able to help you and help your family out. That's one of the things I like about my business. I get to meet neat people and help people get what they want.
That's great.
And one of the things that I like, I don't know if the listeners haven't been to Kitchenland out there in Nixa, you have a really neat showroom. You're not the easiest to find because you have to kind of go behind whatever that road is, kind of behind Casey's there, whatever, and kind of go down the back. But it's worth the trip over there. You get back there to where his showroom is, and he has got a great showroom. All kinds of neat products, great designs for kitchens. He's got some stuff displayed there, give you different design ideas and things like that. And I would imagine that kitchen remodeling is probably something that a lot of people are kind of getting into since that they're not selling and buying houses so much, they're doing remodeling.
We're definitely in a kitchen remodel trend. It happens every so often that you get a place where the market slows down, and people tend to remodel their kitchens. And we've been doing small remodels. We did a lot of small remodels. Now we're getting into some bigger remodels. Are starting to come around, but countertops, handles, those things can change your kitchen in a big way. I mean, changing your handles can make a huge difference.
It can. It's kind of amazing to me how something that small makes such a big impact in a kitchen. And I know you have a lot of those there at the store people could choose from too and look at. And
I've been told that several times by ladies wishing I had less to choose from.
You do have a lot to choose from. So if you're wanting to do something as simple as just changing the handles, I highly suggest you go out there, because it's one thing to try and look in a book. Sometimes you go somewhere and they go, oh, well, here's a book, look through here. Well, I don't want to look. I want to see it. I'm from Missouri. You have to show me and not in a book. I want to touch it, feel it, see what it looks like, that type of thing. And you do have a huge variety out there of those type of things. So,
well, we do. We try and give you a lot of choices so that you can get what you want. And it is a big selection, and it can be overwhelming to start with. But usually the price tends to narrow things down a little bit.
Yeah, that's one thing that you can spend a little bit or a lot on is handles and that type of thing, pulls and.
You can spend a lot on them, or you can spend a little. You know, so, and it's just one of those things when you're doing a kitchen remodel. You know, you can do $50 or $60 with your handles, or you can spend a couple thousand. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, we run into that on new houses. If people, especially if it's a custom house, we're building for somebody, and we give them a budget, kind of what we need to spend. If we send them to pick out the pulls and stuff, you know, and it's the same way with not only cabinet pulls and stuff, door hardware, like doorknobs and stuff. People don't realize how much you can spend on that. And when you take a whole kitchen full of cabinets and you got your bathroom cabinets and everything, you can have several pulls. You know, you can spend $2 or $3 a piece, or you can spend $10, $15 a piece on them.
That's correct.
And folks don't realize that till they realize that they're spending a couple $1,000s for pulls, knobs, and you know, stuff. And it's amazing how fast it'll add up.
It does.
You know.
Well, that's why we try and guide them in the right direction to start with,
Exactly.
what their budget is and what they can afford. Because we do a lot of stuff for $60, $70, and or you know, $150 isn't uncommon if you're doing the whole house. So, and it makes a nice little addition if you're wanting to update your kitchen and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
now here's something I don't know. Why do us cabinet geeks always call them pulls and everybody else calls them handles? Have you ever wondered that?
You know, that's true.
I don't know.
I wonder that.
I call them knobs. I don't know where I fit.
Well, it's just one of those odd things, you know, that we call them pulls and everybody else calls them a handle.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Now, I've never thought about that, but that is true.
One of the mysteries of the cabinet business.
There you go.
There you go. For those of you who have nothing better to do, you can ponder that today.
Ponder that and read the 2,000 uses for WD-40.
There you go.
There you go.
So you got a full day's work right there.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. You know, there is, you know, in whether you're remodeling a kitchen, bathroom, or whatever, there's so many options you have out there nowadays. Back when I first was exposed to the construction business, you had your pretty basic, I mean, you know, wasn't a whole lot of frills, wasn't a whole lot of options you could get when you got cabinets. A lot of times the guy come in and built them right there on the job. Things has changed so much over the years. The little foo-foo things that you can get, you know, your turntables and your, you know, the way you store stuff, your racks and everything, and it's just amazing the combinations that you can get. And so you can take that kitchen that is just, you know, just being really basic and really make it a show place. And another thing that impresses me, and you could probably touch on this more, Brad, but the finishes on cabinets have got better. To me, it seems like over the years, they last longer, they're more durable.
Yeah, they have. Lacquer's kind of has been out for a long time. Catalyzed conversion varnishes that are baked in. You know, there's a lot of different things they do, but that'll hold up to fingernail polish remover, which, you know, is acetone, so it's basically like paint remover. It keeps the cabinets good and keeps them lasting longer. So, you know, it gets you, well, when you spill something on it, you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Lacquer, you know, if you get lemon juice or something on it, it's going to eat through it. Most people don't know that. So lacquer's probably the worst thing you can use on your cabinets. You need to use a varnish, or a cap varnish should be the best. And then, you know, well, anyhow, just the way they do things with the airflow, the positive airflow, keeping all the dust and stuff out of things, makes for a really nice finish. I mean, you know, and the other things, too, that you do, you know, like putting things in cabinets. We've been doing a lot of that on even old kitchens. Somebody will want to do a set of sliding shelves, or they want to do, you know, the one thing I can't do is if you got a blank corner, I can't put a Lazy Susan in it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So I get that request a lot, and you have to explain that you've got it just won't work.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, I know like I say, the options are just unreal, and that's why people really need to come into your shop and just look, especially if you're thinking about building a new house or just remodeling your existing place. You'll be amazed at what you're going to see when it comes to cabinets. And I mean, you can go anything from the plain, simple, to the just so extravagant, all the fluted, you know, woodwork and everything. So.
You know, one of the odd things right now is people come into my showroom and they think that granite's going to be one of the most expensive tops they can get. It's more expensive than your Formica, but it is not the same. It's less than the Corian. It's less than the quartz and stuff. And I'm getting a lot of response on that. People come in and think that granite's really expensive, and it's not. Now, granted, it's more than Formica, but you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the price of granite's come down quite a bit. It seems like there's more. It's more readily available than it was like even maybe 15 years ago, or maybe there's just more people that are doing it. But I remember when we redid our kitchen in Nixa, it was just totally out of our price budget. I mean, that we just couldn't even afford it at all, and that's been probably 15 years or more. But it does seem more affordable to me now than it was then.
It's much more affordable, and I've seen a lot of upgrades from post-form or Formica tops to the granite, just because it is more affordable. Something that used to cost $5,500 is now costing you $2,500 to $3,500, and it's still expensive. Don't get me wrong. And the best top you can still buy for the money is Formica.
Is that right? Why is that?
Well, look at these nice mauve tops.
They've
probably been here 25 years.
That's true. Well, and what is and if you buy granite, what kind of care does it? I mean, you have to like take care of granite. It's not it requires maintenance, doesn't it?
Yeah, the number one thing I get when people buy a granite top, or they buy a quartz top, or they buy a Corian top, or any kind of an upgrade top, they think it's indestructible. That's not true of any top. There are benefits and there are pros and cons to every top you do. Like, for example, granite, you do have to seal it. The thing that I have the most calls on granite is staining and cracking. If it's got a hairline crack in it, you fill it with epoxy. It's not hard to take care of, but it's not going to be indestructible like most people think.
And with granite, can you put, and I've been told both ways, I don't know which is true. With granite, can you take like a hot pot off the stove and set it on granite or not?
You can take a hot pot and set it on any countertop that you want to pick. For example, Formica, when it first came out, the biggest thing that it had going for it is that you could set a cigarette on it, it wouldn't burn. Now, that's going back to 1948 or somewhere in that neighborhood. And they used to have vinyl tops. You can set a pot that's a certain temperature on that Formica and take it off, and it won't hurt it. So, with that said, you can set a hot pot, depending on the temperature of the hot pot, on any countertop. You can set a pretty hot pot on granite compared to other tops, but you just don't want to abuse the top. I always tell people, treat your countertop like it's a Formica top, and it will last you a long time, and you will be happy.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So are a lot of people doing that? Are you going in and upgrading countertops for a lot of people?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I would think so, because that would be something that would also make a drastic change to your kitchen, just replacing the countertops. So
It does. See, people think when they remodel their kitchen that they have to do everything. You don't. I mean, I get people that ask me, how can I change the look of my kitchen? The first two things is countertops and handles. You know, whether it's a Formica top or whether it's a granite top, really doesn't matter. It can really dramatically change the name of your kitchen, or the way your kitchen looks. And then you get this other question, well, can I change the finish? That's a little more tricky. Dark finishes, you can't lighten them up without sanding the stain off. A light finish, there are things you can do with a painter or somebody else to change the color of the kitchen or to darken it up a little bit. But, you know, it gets to that point, too, where you can almost spend more trying to do that than you could if you replaced everything. So you've got to be careful when you're doing that. I get people that do it both ways at that point, depending on what they're doing. We kind of look at the price both ways to decide what's best. So cabinets or handles and countertops are easy. Refinishing the cabinets, it can go either way depending on the situation.
Right. Well, you know what? We need to give out some numbers in case somebody wants to call.
See, we do this. We just get started and forget some of the housekeeping stuff here.
I know it. We do. You can call in today and talk to me, Mary, or Brad at 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or if you want to send us a text, we do that now because we are high tech around here.
We are. We just figured that out, a couple of months ago.
Yeah, we did. Well, you can do that at 417-838-3192, and I'll read the text over the air, and we'll get an answer. Try to, anyhow. So,
sure.
Yeah. So,
some people just are shy about talking on the radio.
They are.
Don't know why.
I am, you can tell.
Yeah. We have that in common, Mark.
Yeah, we do, Mary. That's for sure. So, you know, I see a lot, and we do this on some of our new houses that we build. It don't have to be a or $500,000 house to have granite tops. We're doing it on $125,000 houses now because, like Mary was saying, granite is affordable. It's not as cheap as Formica, but it is affordable, and it makes for such a nice look.
It does. It makes for a very nice look. And like I'm seeing the same thing. We're doing a lot of kitchens that wouldn't have gotten granite, 10, 12 years ago, even 5 years ago. We're putting on a lot of kitchens these days. So it's definitely something that's become more affordable. I always, when I get into it, if somebody's got I always like to price it both ways so they know the difference,
Sure.
Because when you get to a Formica top, if you're doing a lot of stuff to that Formica top, Wilson Art and Formica both have upgrade colors, and you put an upgrade color with one of their special edges, you're getting awful close to the price of a granite top.
Exactly.
And so you've got to make sure that you're looking out for the customer or looking out for that person that's remodeling the kitchen, that you do what's best for them.
Aren't a lot of people expecting granite now? It seems like that some of them are expecting it more. They're out looking at houses and stuff. Even, it used to be in the really high-end houses, but now even, like you said, the ones you're building, people are kind of expecting that, especially in a new house.
They are.
When they come in, they want to see that granite countertop.
Yeah.
So I would think if maybe you were looking to sell your house, one of the things that I've always been told is kitchens and bathrooms remodels, you get the most out of your investment. So it might be worth just putting in a granite countertop if you're looking to sell. That might, increase the price a little bit, and definitely would increase the sellability of the home, I would think.
Oh yeah,
just because of people's expectations out there. So
yeah, and there's so many different colors. You can get the basic Uba Tuba, or you can go to the really high end granites, and some of them are really, really pretty. They're more expensive.
Sure.
But and then you got if you want to really step out of the box, you got quartz tops, and that are a little more expensive, but
we're going to take a pause here.
We're going to take a
Don't
pause.
mean to cut you off. Gary put the sign up, so I know our first half hour is already gone.
That's amazing.
I don't know where it happened to it. I don't know. We're not done though, folks. So hang with us. We'll be back here shortly.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A man is in jail after leading police officers on a high-speed chase Thursday afternoon. Deputies were attempting to serve a felony DWI warrant on Michael Reamer when he took off. The chase reached speeds of up to 70 miles per hour on Springfield's south side before Reamer was arrested on East Kingsley. Murder charges have been filed in Taney County against a Missouri prison inmate for the 2003 murder of Rebecca Sutton. Philip Dodd has been charged with first-degree murder. Dodd is currently serving 14 years for robbery. Court documents show that Dodd was a person of interest in Sutton's murder from the beginning of the investigation. And an undercover investigation into paddlefish poaching has led to the arrests or citations of more than 100 suspects. The Missouri Department of Conservation teamed up with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to crack down on paddlefish poaching in the Osage River near Warsaw. Paddlefish are prized as sport fish and for their eggs, which can be sold illegally as caviar. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers. KWTO and KTXR are seeking full-time advertising sales representatives. These individuals must be master communicators both verbally and with the written word. They also need to be organized in order to manage their accounts. A radio sales position can be rewarding, lucrative, and enjoyable. If you're an individual with natural sales capabilities, contact Donna Neal at 417-862-3990 for more information about the open positions. Meyer Communications is an equal opportunity employer. Send resumes to manager@radiospringfield.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jay McFerrin, and I'm inviting you to join me on Friday, April 12th for the first of our great shows, our great trips to Branson. We're going to go to Branson and experience Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede Dinner Attraction. It's going to be great. comedy juggling in the carriage room, and then the Dixie Stampede Dinner and Show Spectacular. Dinner and 2 shows and transportation, all for $50 per person. Hey, give me a call at 862-3751 and reserve your spot for this fantastic trip. It's going to be great.
Jerry Doyle, the fastest growing talk radio network program with the 3rd largest show in America, is the newest addition to KWTO AM 560's broadcast lineup. The Jerry Doyle Show is conservative, entertaining, controversial, and live. Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. with a repeat hour from 8 to 9. Listen to Jerry and his guests discuss today's top issues or call in live with your own opinion. The Jerry Doyle Show, 6 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday on KWTO AM 560.
Breezy for today, as we do see sunny skies, high of 79, clear for tonight, low of 50. Sunshine giving way to clouds, not as warm tomorrow, high 64, low of 38 for tomorrow night. Sunday will be breezy and cooler, as we do see some rain, the high near 50. A couple of showers are possible. Otherwise cloudy on Monday, high of 55 as we start the work week. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And we're back with the second half of Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your heating and air conditioning company, your local Amana dealer. And you know what I forgot to mention a while ago, Mark?
What's that, Mary?
We were talking about allergies and that type of thing, and I've mentioned this on my other shows, but one of the things that people do this time of year, they get into spring cleaning. They do kitchen remodeling and they do all kinds of things, but a lot of people do spring cleaning. And so one of the things they don't think about when they're doing spring cleaning is their ductwork.
That's right.
And, you know, if you come in and you clean your house all up and have it all spit clean and shiny and all that, and then you don't clean out your ductwork when you turn your air conditioner on, all that stuff in your ductwork gets blown right back into your house.
Right back into there, yeah.
So at Spring Mountain Air, what we decided to do is to kind of help people out with that is between now and April 15th, guess why we picked that date? Tax time. We can remember that date.
Oh, yes, we can.
Between now and April 15th, anyone who wants to have duct cleaning done, we're given a 10% discount. So you might want to keep that in mind when you're planning your spring cleaning. Get your whole house cleaned.
Get your ducks
in a row. Get your ducks in a row.
That's right.
Hopefully they're in a row. Sometimes they're laying down on the ground, and that ain't good.
I found that out at my house. That mine was.
Yeah, that ain't good.
No.
But yeah, anyone who's wanting to do that, give us a call. And Spring Mountain Air number is 831-4036, and we'll get you set up. We've been doing quite a few. Actually, we're doing one today. A lady has 2 systems, so we're taking care of her today and getting her all cleaned up and ready and getting some of that allergy junk out of her ductwork and all that. So there you go.
That's good.
Something else you can put on your to-do list.
That's right. That's right. You can.
So do you find lots of interesting things in people's ductwork?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think one of the strangest things we talked about before, we found, unfortunately, some dead cats.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there can be some really nasty stuff in there.
That wasn't good to breathe.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things in there. People would be real squirmish if they actually knew what all we pulled out of there. But
boy, that's
That's a different show.
Yeah, different show. But for this show, if you want to call in and talk to us, you can do that. You can call 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or you can text us at 417-838-3192. It's Mark and Mary. We're known as the Porter and Dolly, or the Buck and Roy of Ozarks Radio.
I think we're closer to Buck and Roy.
That's right.
Than Porter and Dolly. But
well, yeah, maybe.
That's a matter of opinion. There we go.
But seriously, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We got Brad Schrock here with Kitchenland Cabinets, and we're just having a great time today. You know, it's that time of year people want to do things. You know, they're thinking about remodeling the house or building a new house, whatever. And you know, they need to go to Kitchenland.
Yes, they do. Look at the cabinets. Check out the showroom. And you will need some assistance when you get there because, like Brad said, you have so many options. Not only do you have all these different pulls, I'll use the technical term, to choose from. But when you go in there and look around, you have so many different designs like we talked about earlier, but you also have a lot of different stains and colors to choose from. So there is just a whole lot of choices you have to make. So it's really good to have a professional kind of guide you through that, because like you said, it can really be overwhelming. And probably depending on the style of your house and the size of your kitchen and all that, Brad here can help you do what's good for your situation and help you stay within your budget, which is also very important.
Yes, it is. And and I know you guys do this because I've had you to do it before, but work with builders as far as if a builder would want to bring a set of plans in or bring his client in and sit down with you guys and go over everything. And because, it's tough. It's tough to stay within a budget, but that's where you guys come in as professionals. You can help people do that and say, no, you can't afford this. This is what we can do, though, to get you maybe almost the same effect, but save you a little money. There's that's the neat thing about you guys down there.
Yeah, we do try. Well, keeping people in budgets is probably half our job, because people only have, the funny thing is people walk in there all the time and they say, I don't have a budget. But I just know when they get that look on their face, they may not have a budget, but they know when it's too much.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They don't know what the budget is, but they know when they've exceeded it.
Yes, that's right. So we try and...
Well, that's important to know, too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's just like anything in life. I mean, you can have a Mercedes or a Lamborghini, or you can have a Ford, and a Ford's a fine car. And if you like Chevrolets, those are fine cars too.
They both serve the purpose. They both get you where you're going. So it just depends on, what kind of style you want. But same thing with your kitchen. Your kitchen is where your friends and family gather around, you prepare the food and all that. Having a granite countertop versus coriander, whatever, isn't going to make any difference in the way the food tastes.
No.
It's not going to make any difference whether or not your friends have a good time. So it's just a personal preference for people, what they like personally. But really, I've found out that, you can have a good time with your friends no matter what. And it doesn't always have to be based around, monetary things or the most expensive kitchen in the world, So.
No. Well, making a cozy kitchen is a piece of cake. And, well, I shouldn't say it's a piece of cake. You got to have the room to do it. But, for the most part, most people don't. The number one thing people request for in a kitchen is an island.
Yes.
And an island creates a space where people can come and stand and talk to you. They're not in your workspace, and yet it makes it friendly. It makes it easy to access. If you don't have room for an island, there's ways to work that kind of a space into your kitchen where you're not out of the action, only doing the kitchen work. You're sitting there and you're part of what's going on with the family or your friends. Making that warm feeling is a big part of designing a good kitchen. You want to make sure that you're a part of what's going on as well.
Absolutely. The other thing I really like about islands that I think are really cool, particularly if you have kind of a small kitchen, but maybe you have kind of an open concept where, you have a space and then you have your table. And I've always thought that's kind of wasted space there. And a lot of times you can add an island there kind of between the kitchen table and the open part of the kitchen. And you can also utilize storage because you can have storage in that island. So you can really increase your storage capability, too, by adding an island. And a lot of times in a smaller kitchen, storage can be a real problem.
The hardest kitchen to design, you give me a big kitchen, that's a piece of cake.
Sure.
But the hardest kitchens to design are the smallest kitchens because you have to have a stove, you have to have a refrigerator, and most of the time you have to have a dishwasher, and then you've got the microwave. And if you've got a small kitchen, that can eat up a lot of the space in there. And making that kitchen comfortable is a challenge. So we've done several of them in the center of town here where they were built in the 1930s and there's a lot of doors in them and stuff. And figuring out how to make that kitchen comfortable for that person to work in is really probably takes me more time than it does designing a kitchen that's $30,000 or $40,000.
I would imagine.
You got to get everything in the right spot, and it's interesting sometimes.
You got to learn how to utilize the space.
That's correct.
Do you sometimes recommend that people move their appliances to a different location to make the kitchen more functional?
It depends on several things. One is the budget. The other one is what type of house they have. Like, say we're going to move the refrigerator. If they're moving the refrigerator and there's a plug in the area we're moving it to, and they have a crawl space, getting water to that refrigerator is pretty simple and inexpensive. if they've got slab construction or something like that, we wouldn't recommend moving things. The sinks, as a general rule, you don't want to move because that's a little bigger expense. Okay. But moving a stove, and probably the most common appliance we move is the dishwasher because it plumbs into the sink anyhow, so it can go on the right or the left of the sink fairly easily. So those are the simple things.
I need you to come over to my house because I'll guarantee you I got the smallest kitchen in Springfield. It's got to be,
Well, I don't know that would be true, but we'll give it a shot. We'll put it on our wall if it is.
Let's put an island in it.
Yeah, really. when our house was built in the 70s, and they apparently didn't have kitchen in mind when they built it. It was just like, we forgot to build a kitchen. Let's put it in this closet here. And that...
Oh, dear.
No, I mean, it is small. I like it. It's, it's kind of... there's room for me to cook it, but it's definitely not a kitchen that you want 2 or 3 people in. Two's a crowd.
Is it one of those you can stand in one spot and reach everything?
Almost.
Yeah.
Which is kind of handy in a way.
Well, you'd be surprised at how you can look at a kitchen and see the era that it was built in. Mm-hmm. Different things my family goes back quite a ways in the kitchen business, but back in the 30s, a Pullman kitchen, what's called a Pullman kitchen, was big, where they'd put a sink and 2 cabinets on the side and 2 cabinets up above, and that was your cabinets. And that happened in the 30s. You go to the 70s, a lot of galley kitchens, a lot of kitchens with head knockers, what I call them, where the cabinets come out over the bar. In the 50s, the 24-inch wall oven was king. I don't know why, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You put the wall oven right next to the stove or the cooktop, and it was 24 inches wide.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it just depends on, taking that stuff and redoing it is fairly easy. Now, in your case, do you know any contractors that could maybe knock out a wall so we can make the kitchen bigger?
Well, I might. I don't know.
One of the things we did that really made a huge difference down at our lake house is that when they put the cabinets in, they didn't take them clear to the ceiling. And so what we did, because my kitchen down there is quite a bit smaller than the one I had in Nixa, and so I was wanting to maximize the space as much as I could. So when we pulled all that out, we put the new cabinets in. We put them clear to the ceiling, and I got an extra probably 15 inches or so of cabinet space completely around the whole kitchen because we went clear to the ceiling instead of having that top where you could put decorator stuff on top or whatever. I didn't need that down there. So
set your knickknacks.
So you can kind of look at your kitchen and kind of see, did they go clear to the ceiling? Do they not? And I only have 8-foot ceiling, so it wasn't, they don't look ridiculously huge or anything because I don't have a real tall ceiling, but that made a really big difference.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing a lot of stuff with going to the ceiling now, just like you're saying. And the other thing is, like your houses that were built in the 70s, a lot of times had soffits.
Mine does.
Taking soffits out has been a big thing. Generally, if it's a 1-story house, they didn't run too much electrical through it. It's not very expensive. It's several $100s, but it can be done. And you got to repair the ceiling and do that kind of stuff. We've also had them going to the ceiling seems to be the new trend that we're seeing a lot of. And we don't go all the way to the ceiling. We'll run a big crown or something and stay down from it about 3 inches and then do a big crown. And guys, it doesn't matter whether you think it's usable space or not. Your wife wants it, just do it.
That's right. Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, that's right.
That's true.
My house still has the avocado green tile backsplash and countertop.
You do know a remodel contractor, don't you?
Wow.
Well, but hey, what's funny about it is my wife actually likes that avocado green tile.
Really?
It is something a little different. You don't.
Then I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, if she's happy, you're happy.
Yeah. Probably one of the worst ones I saw was I had a girlfriend buy a house in Ozark, and I don't know when it was built. It had the ugliest orange countertops you have ever seen in your life, and they were just horrible. And they got them redone and everything, which was made it a lot nicer. But the orange was bad.
Well, in the 1970s, orange was a hot color. They had that Corvette back, I think, about 77 that was orange.
That's true. That's true.
So. As long as it's Harley Davidson orange, I'm all right.
I don't know that. I don't know. Those orange countertops just were not pretty.
Yeah. I've seen them.
Now, so I would probably like the green over the orange. Yeah.
Now, I've done some sports-themed bars. I've never done a Harley Davidson, but definitely Cardinals and Chiefs, where we put some colors in for that and that kind of thing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be neat. That would be neat. Like if someone's basement or something, and I wouldn't want my kitchen to look like that. But if you did something in the
the bar area in the basement or something
sure.
like that. What in cabinetry? What is the newest innovation that's come out over the last year or two?
Innovations. I mean, the smart stops have been just going crazy. Where you open your drawer and the soft close has been the biggest request. Getting it on the doors now is becoming more. They're integrating it to more stuff. That's probably been the biggest trend I've seen. Storage spaces and stuff, they're always innovating that. Sometimes you can, what I call over-gizmo a kitchen, where you can put too much stuff in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But probably colors are probably the biggest thing I'm seeing change right now. A lot of whites with the glazes, a lot of painted whites. Gray is a new color. Light gray is a color that's starting to come into being. We haven't seen it so much in the Ozarks, but my research shows that it's something that's going to be coming soon. I mean, and it's not a real gray. It's kind of a soft gray. Hard to explain. But doing that seems to be a new color. More modern looks are coming in. And this is a trend that happens every so often. You saw this in the cabinet business. Trends tend to be a little slower because people don't modify their kitchens that often.
Right.
But the modern looks are starting to come back in with the younger crowd. As they get older in their 40s, they're starting to spend that money and doing the slab looks, doing more darker colors, that kind of thing. So I don't.
Do you ever work with concrete countertops?
I have stayed away from the concrete countertops just because what I've seen, and this is my theory on stuff. We're really good, like when you came in with your door, about taking care of our customers. If I don't feel comfortable with somebody that I can call and they're going to fix it, even if it's a little out of warranty or something, I just don't want to have that phone call. And I just haven't found anybody I feel comfortable with doing that. It's not anything against concrete countertops, just what I've seen, and I just don't have anybody I feel comfortable with on that.
Right.
I don't know anyone that has them. I just think they're kind of a cool idea, especially like maybe outside if you're going to do an outdoor kitchen or something, do a concrete countertop.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would particularly want it indoors, but I don't know.
The problem, especially here with concrete, if you're looking at resale value, it's not something everybody's going to want. A granite countertop is going to be more of something that when they walk into the house, somebody's not going to go, ooh. And with concrete countertop, you're going to get more of that.
Yeah.
Just because people haven't seen it, they're not used to it. It's not what I consider normal. And if it's your house and you're going to live there, who cares?
Sure.
Do what you want.
Sure.
I get this all the time. People say, well, I'm going to die in the house, and then they worry about the resale value. And I say, well, you're going to die in the house. When you're gone, the kids will sell it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
you don't care at that point.
That's true. At that point, it's really a moot point to you.
Yeah, true. And this is something that Dan Clark, my boss, and since he's the boss, I have to do what he says, but we argue about this all the time on our new construction. I'm old-fashioned. I still love oak cabinets. He hates oak cabinets.
Okay.
Is oak cabinets still being sold?
Now that you told me you like oak cabinets, I'm going to take the Fifth Amendment on that. The thing with oak, we're seeing a trend again. It hasn't come to the Ozarks yet. We're seeing a trend coming back with oak. Oak's coming back in different ways. Like one of the big things that we've seen a big trend in now, and I've got it in a price that is affordable, is quarter sawn. Quarter sawn oak is beautiful. If you've seen a piece of antique furniture, most of the time that's quarter sawn oak. Back in the day, before they had these big mechanical bandsaws, they couldn't cut that log in big strips. They had to cut it into quarters, and then they would move the boards, which made the grain come out differently. And so the quarter sawn oak has been a really huge thing we've been seeing. The colors in oak are changing to where they're not light oak is probably deader than a doornail. But oak is a beautiful wood. It's just like anything. When you go back to the 60s, you saw a lot of mahogany, you saw a lot of maple.
Right.
Now you're here in the 2000s, you're seeing a lot of the maple. Well, now that's been around for we don't think about that, but it's basically been around for about 15 years. And so we're going to see a trend away from some of that back to the oak again. And I don't know that oak is, you want to stay away from the light oak and the raised panel oak. Doing something different in oak is a big deal. The inset doors are getting to be a big deal which is where the door sets into the frame completely, which gets you that real plain country look. So, you know, it's all those things. Now, I do want to hit something that you said. I get women coming in all the time that are overwhelmed with trying to figure everything out at once.
Sure.
And, you know, colors, like we've talked about colors, we've talked about choices, and I can hear in the background somebody go, oh, how am I ever going to decide all this?
Right.
And, you know, that's part of what we do is when they come in, what we're going to do is we're going to take one thing and start focusing on that, whether it's the kitchen design, whether it's the color, if they've got a piece of flooring they like. Picking one thing that you like in the kitchen is probably the most important thing to start. Because once you get that one thing, then everything falls into place.
I see. So it's like eating an elephant.
Yeah.
You kind of have to pick, you know, like
Pick
you said,
the
that
toe.
makes sense. Yeah. Pick the thing that you really, really like the best and then build around that, and then it will all come together.
Well,
That makes
you ever
sense.
watch these frou-frou design shows where they say, this inspired me? What they really mean is, hey, I picked this one thing I like, and I designed everything around it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that does make sense because it can be, I mean, to try and go in and try and develop the whole thing, I don't know. I also think it's a good idea, and I kind of like to do this. I kind of like to have something in mind when I'm going to tackle something that size, because I have a design style or a color or something that, and sometimes when I start out that way, I end up thinking, okay, that's not what I wanted at all. But I try to have at least kind of some sort of idea of what I want, so I have a starting point.
The number one reason people don't remodel their kitchen is because it's too big. They get overwhelmed by it.
It's overwhelmed, yeah.
What we do is we take things and try and break them down into smaller bits and get you started down that process, because once you get started, everything tends to fall in. And the other thing that I tell people all the time, and you get family involved in all this, and you get me involved, and people say, well, you're the professional, what do you think? Well, you know what? I have an opinion. If you take my opinion and you're going to live in that house, you're going to live with my opinion for a long time.
Yeah.
Sure.
So make sure it's your opinion too.
Exactly.
Right, sure, exactly. That makes sense.
Well, you know, you get moms and daughters involved, and they start worrying about what everybody thinks. You got to remember whose house it is and who's going to live there.
Absolutely, absolutely. What is your number, Brad? If someone wants to call you, or if they have a question about a kitchen or want to come by and see you, how do they get a hold of you, and where are you located?
They can get a hold of us at 417-725-0700. And we're located at 2001 Michael Lane. That's down in Nixa.
And when are your store hours?
We're open 8. Well, now you asked me a hard question. We're open 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday, on Friday nights until 7, and Saturday from 9 to 3.
Oh, so you're open on Saturday. Well, that's
okay.
great.
Well, yeah, we got to be there for the husband and wife to show up together.
Lots of
All right.
opportunity to go
Yeah.
down there and take a look at their showroom and get some great advice and some help.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Brad, it's been great having you on the show today. I've learned stuff sitting here. Oh, this is great.
I know.
Well,
I'm interested in those gray cabinets. If you get some in, I'm going to come look at those. That sounds interesting
Yeah,
to me. Those light
absolutely.
gray. That just kind of sounds kind of cool to me.
It does. It does. Sounds
never know.
neat. That's right. So, got anything big going on this weekend?
I'm off to the races, buddy.
All right.
Today, Hot Springs, here I come.
Yeah, sounds good. So, we'll have fun.
What are you doing?
Hopefully get the motorcycle out of the
I
garage.
kind of thought so.
Yeah, that's where I'm
Okay.
headed anyhow. Well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO. Door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic. I got bats in my head.